Good Tuesday morning, and thank you for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get right to your headlines. Developing right now in Burnsville. One person is in the hospital after a shooting, and police are looking for whoever pulled the trigger. A shelter-in-place was put into effect in the area of Harriet Avenue South. That has since been lifted, though. Audrey Russo joins us from the scene with what we know at this hour.
I reached out to Burnsville police when I got in this morning around 3 o'clock, still waiting for some information back from them on really the scenario that went down and the circumstances leading up to this shooting. But for the folks who live in this apartment complex behind me and in the neighborhood around it, it started with a shelter-in-place order at 10:30. Burnsville police did confirm to us that they were brought here for a reported shooting at that time. Now, when you take a look at this video, you can see our crews on scene overnight. Around 1 o'clock, saw officers going into the apartment complex, coming out, looking through the snow with flashlights. They stayed on the scene after the shelter-in-place was lifted around 2 o'clock, and Burnsville police confirmed that one person was brought to HCMC. However, we don't know that person's age, that person's condition. We also don't know if anybody else was injured in the process. So again, we've reached out to Burnsville police for more information. They did tell our crews on scene overnight that they expect to release some sort of statement later on in the morning. Back to you.
Audrey, thank you. A look from our nation's capital today, where widespread fraud in Minnesota will be back in the spotlight. A Senate Judiciary hearing will get underway this morning. Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison were both asked to testify, but they declined. Instead, they'll both testify before a House Oversight Committee next month. Ghislaine Maxwell, the co-conspirator of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, says she will answer lawmakers' questions if she gets clemency from President Trump. Maxwell pleaded the fifth for every question asked by the House Oversight Committee on Monday. The same day, lawmakers had the chance to review unredacted Epstein files released by the Justice Department. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Hi there. Lawmakers in both parties describing a persistent lack in transparency as they begin reviewing unredacted Epstein files, with some raising questions about specific names they say were held back. Lawmakers given their first chance to view unredacted versions of the Jeffrey Epstein files that the Justice Department made public with large chunks blacked out, walking out with more questions.
What I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files.
Republican Thomas Massie then posting questions about 4 redacted names in one document. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche directly responding that the Justice Department had just unredacted all non-victim names in the file Massie referenced, and that the DOJ is committed to transparency. But lawmakers say there are still portions blacked out in what's supposed to be the unredacted files.
And that's because the documents produced to justice from the FBI, from the grand jury, was redacted when they got it.
As they push for full transparency, members of the House Oversight Committee voicing frustration after Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell refused to answer any questions in their deposition.
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Repeatedly pleading the fifth in a virtual appearance from the Texas prison camp where she's serving her 20-year sex trafficking sentence. Maxwell's lawyer saying she's, quote, prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump, something the president has not definitively ruled out and Epstein survivors passionately oppose.
Why would that even be entertained in any way?
Lawmakers in both parties have spoken out against clemency for Maxwell. Maxwell's attorney also said she can explain why President Trump and former President Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing. Law enforcement has never accused either man of any crime related to Epstein. Next up this week, a hearing with Attorney General Pam Bondi that some Epstein survivors say they plan to attend. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, happening today, Team USA Curling is set to win its first ever medal in mixed doubles curling. The team from Duluth taking down the reigning champion Italy on Monday.
It was amazing just to live that out. I think win or lose, we really enjoyed ourselves out there. And that was important for us to stay sharp because that could have gone either way. I'm just so proud of us, grinding that out. We're going for gold.
Well, this is the moment their home curling center in Duluth reacted to that final shot. They're going to be back out there today. Closer to home, you can watch them compete at the Crooked Pint over at the Chaska Curling Center, a wonderful venue over there. That starts at 11:05. Then the U.S. and Canada are getting ready to face off on the ice. The two women's hockey teams are dominating and are once again on a collision course for gold. And as Alicia Lewis tells us, this may be the greatest rivalry in sports.
Yeah, the captain of Team USA Women's Hockey, Hillary Knight, says you're really getting the best of the best when it comes to USA versus Canada. It really becomes a bloodbath out there. But she says they feel it and the fans feel it as well. The world of women's hockey is a small one. That world consists of North America, United States, and Canada.
We hate them. It's an awesome rivalry. It's so spicy out there.
Since women's hockey started in the Olympics, these two countries have pretty much staged a two-team tournament.
Blood boils sometimes on the ice and even off the ice, so I think, yeah, it's definitely one of the greatest rivalries.
In 7 Olympic Games, Canada and the U.S. have won the gold medal each time. The Americans won gold in 1998, then Canada won 4 Olympic Games in a row in Salt Lake, Torino, Vancouver, and Sochi. The red, white, and blue stopped that streak in 2018 in Pyeongchang, but then Canada stood on top of the podium 4 years later in 2022 in Beijing.
The loss always sucks, and it stays with you for quite a while.
When it ended in 2022, I mean, we all looked right to 2026, and we knew what our goal was, and we want to win a gold medal.
Here we go again. This time it's a showdown in Milan.
This is their Stanley Cup and Olympics, and everything is all wrapped up into one as far as their dreams are concerned, and this is the tip of the iceberg for women's hockey.
When both teams step on the ice, it's almost like a do or die mentality, and I think everyone takes so much pride in like US or Canada, and I think that gets put on display when we hit the ice.
In women's hockey, supremacy is judged by Olympic gold. Add some bad blood, rich history, and the best players in the world, and you have one of the best rivalries in sports. The matchup with Canada starts at 1:10 Central Time. Let's go USA. Reporting in Milan, Alicia Lewis, back to you.
It's going to be so fun to watch. Alicia, thank you. So this morning, we're also getting an update on skiing legend Lindsey Vonn's health after a terrifying crash ended her Olympic comeback. In a statement posted on social media, Vonn said she suffered a complex tibia fracture that will require multiple surgeries to fix. She says she has no regrets about competing, and her torn ACL had nothing to do with the crash this weekend. Vonn says she knew racing was a risk, but, quote, having a chance to win was a victory in and of itself. Now, Lindsey's dad had a bit of a different tone. Alan Kildo told the Associated Press, quote, there will be no more ski races for Lindsey Vonn as long as I have anything to say about it. Dad putting his foot down there. However, he added she's a very strong person and is handling her injuries really well. An update this morning on the rollout of the new paid family leave program. In the first month, DEED officials say they've seen more than 38,000 applications, with around 63% of those processed being approved. Almost half of the applications are for bonding leave, since parents who had a baby in 2025 were eligible to apply this year. 70% of the people on leave right now are women. Medical leave is the next highest reason at 41%.
I would say that we already have seen that now, I think even as of mid-January, and certainly as of now, we get more medical claims in than bonding leave claims in, just as a percentage of total claims.
Officials say they've sent out nearly $30 million to recipients so far, with the average weekly payment being about $1,100. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up right after the break.